You already know the teaching. You know the seeker is the problem. You've heard it 100 times. You've felt it land, really land, that moment when something in you went quiet and you thought, yes, that's it. You know that chasing awakening is the ego's most elegant trick. You know that the one trying to dissolve is the very thing that needs dissolving. You know all of this, and you're still seeking, not naively, the way you did years ago. You're not chasing bliss experiences anymore, not collecting retreats, not hoping the next book will finally crack it open. You're more subtle now, more watchful. You sit in meditation and you watch the watcher. You notice the noticing. You've gotten very sophisticated about this, and somehow that sophistication has become its own trap. There's something that knows the teaching perfectly and uses that knowledge to continue. It wears Nisargadatta's words like armor. It quotes the masters to protect itself from the masters. It says, I know the seeker is the illusion, and in saying it, the seeker survives another day. You feel it, don't you? That subtle exhaustion, not from ignorance, from knowing too much and being free too little, from understanding everything about the cage and still waking up inside it every morning. Nisargadatta saw this clearly, without mercy, and what he said about it might be the most uncomfortable thing you've heard yet. Nisargadatta Maharaj wasn't a gentle teacher. He sat in a small room in Bombay, sold beedis for a living, and when people came to him, sincere people, serious practitioners, people who had dedicated years to this, he looked at what they were doing and named it with a precision that left nowhere to hide. He was precise, uncomfortably precise. He saw something most teachers are too careful to say directly, that the spiritual path, as most people walk it, is the ego, a more refined version, a more sophisticated version, the same hunger wearing different clothes. The seeker is he who is in search of himself. That's a description of exactly what's happening right now. You are using consciousness to search for consciousness, looking for yourself with yourself, and every step toward the destination confirms that there is a traveler who needs to arrive somewhere. The search creates the distance. What is this gap between you and awakening actually made of? Look at it directly. It's made of time. Someday I will be free. One more retreat, one more year of honest practice, and time is nothing but thought, arising now in the very awareness you're trying to reach. There is no distance. There is only the idea of distance. Feel the actual absurdity of it. You are already here. You have never been anywhere else, and yet something keeps moving, keeps searching, keeps insisting that arrival is still ahead. That something is what Nisargadatta was pointing at. The Yoga Vasishtha makes the same cut from a different angle. Rama, a sincere seeker, someone who had done the work, asks his teacher, Vasishtha, must I forget everything completely? Vasishtha doesn't soften it. Forget everything completely. The knowledge, the insights, the identity of someone who understands non-duality, the very framework you've been using to navigate all of this. Forget that too, because the mind that hears this immediately tries to use it. Okay, I understand now. I need to stop seeking. I will make not seeking my new practice. And in that moment, seamlessly, without pause, the seeker survives again. It takes the teaching that was meant to end it and turns it into fuel. Nisargadatta watched this happen constantly. People would leave his room, understanding everything and free of nothing. Today, we let this teaching meet the place where we actually are. Here, in the exhaustion, in the loop, in the strange, quiet dignity of someone who has come this far and is willing to look honestly at what that journey has actually been. There's a move the mind makes that feels like freedom. You're sitting in meditation. A thought arises, anxiety about work, that conversation you keep replaying, the quiet dread that shows up without reason. And instead of getting pulled in, you step back. You observe it. I see the anxiety. I am the witness. Another thought comes. I see that thought too. The observer watches. The observer remains untouched. This feels like progress. It feels like exactly what the teachings were pointing toward. Here's what Nisargadatta would say about that. The witness is a thought, a subtle one, a convincing one, but a thought. If you can observe the witness, if you can practice being the witness, if you can feel proud of how well you're witnessing today, then the witness is an object appearing in awareness. You've built a glass castle for the ego and called it presence. Same ego, new costume, the observer being observed. That's the trap the modern spiritual mind falls into most elegantly because it's so close. The direction is right. The witnessing points towards something real, but somewhere along the way, the pointer became the destination, and now there's a new character, the detached observer, the one who is aware, the person who has transcended the matrix, and that character needs maintaining, protecting, performing. The seeker is he who is in search of himself. Nisargadatta said this without irony. You are using consciousness to search for consciousness, and every time you locate a new, more refined version of the seeker, the witness, the non-seeker, the one who abides, the search continues under a different name. So he pointed elsewhere, away from all of it. You are not the body. You are never the body. The body is imagined, not as provocation, as an invitation to notice something available right now, without practice, without preparation. The sense of I am, bare, immediate, before any description gets added, before I am a seeker, before I am someone who understands this, before I am the witness watching thoughts arise. Just, I am. Does that sense feel young? Does it feel old? Does it carry the weight of everything that happened this week, this year, this lifetime? The memories have changed. The body has changed. The mind has changed. Completely, multiple times. Beliefs that once felt absolute have dissolved. Emotions that felt permanent passed through like weather. But the simple knowing that you exist, has that changed? Has it ever changed? That's what Nisargadatta kept pointing at. And the almost unbearable irony is that it can't be found by looking. Every time you look for it, you produce a looker. Every time you try to rest in it, you produce someone trying to rest. The Yoga Vasishtha says it without softening. Forget everything. And it means everything, including the one who is trying to forget. The mind is a labyrinth. It will construct a spiritual identity out of anything, including the understanding that spiritual identities are illusory. It will build a self out of no self, make a practice out of non-practice. Every exit it finds becomes a new room, and it's fast, faster than any insight. The moment a teaching lands, the mind has already begun converting it into a new project. This is usually where something wants to move away, to find the practical implication. The thing to do with all of this: stay here instead. Something is hearing these words right now. Something is aware of the frustration, aware of the loop, aware of the exhaustion of seeing the trap clearly and still being inside it. That something is prior to the witness and prior to the seeker. It's what remains when the construction pauses, even briefly, even accidentally, even in the silence between one thought and the next. The world does not arise except through thought. Vasishtha says, "Do not think, and the world will not arise." When nothing arises in the mind itself is lost, a description of what's already here when the building stops. You've been in that gap, those moments in meditation when something opened without being forced, a walk where for a few seconds there was no one walking. That wasn't an achievement. That was what was always there when the achiever briefly stepped aside. The question isn't how to get back there. The question is what has never left. Nisargadatta used to say that most people come looking for a better story, a story where they are more awake, more free, more arrived. And what made sitting with him so disorienting was that he refused to give anyone a better story. He just kept pointing at the one who wanted one. You came here with something too. Maybe a question, maybe a frustration, maybe just the familiar weight of someone who has been on this road for a long time and feels somehow no closer to wherever the road was supposed to lead. And this is where most videos would offer you something, a practice, a reframe, a reason to feel that the time spent here moved you forward in some direction. I don't have that. What I have is what Nisargadatta left. This unbearable, clarifying pointing at the fact that you are already what you are looking for, that the I am, which is hearing these words right now, has never been absent, has never been broken, has never needed a single retreat, a single insight, a single moment of transcendence to be complete. The seeking didn't fail. The seeking was never the right tool for this. A wave looking for the ocean, running east, running west, crashing against the shore. If someone told the wave, "You are the water," it wouldn't believe it. It would say, "Look at my form, look at my edges. I am small and the ocean is vast. I must become vast." And all the while, the water, the mind will try to do something with this. It's already trying. It wants to convert what was said here into a direction, a posture, a quiet new project of just being. That can be seen too. The seeing of it is already closer to what Nisargadatta was pointing at than any practice has ever been. What Vasishtha pointed at, what Nisargadatta spent decades pointing at. It isn't a state you enter. It's what's here before you enter anything. Before you decide whether today was a good sit or a bad one. Before the audit begins. Before the first thought of the morning tells you who you are and how you're doing. Right there. That's always been right there. The search ends when it becomes absolutely clear there is no one to complete it. And that clarity doesn't arrive like an experience. It doesn't come with light or silence or dissolving boundaries. It comes, if it comes at all, as something much quieter. A recognition so simple, the mind almost dismisses it. Oh, it was here. I wonder, and this is a genuine question, not a rhetorical one. At what point did the search start feeling like the problem itself? When did you first notice that the effort to be free was its own kind of prison? Leave that in the comments, not as an answer, as a way of seeing it more clearly for yourself. There's more on this channel, other teachers, other angles on the same quiet truth. Each video is an invitation to look again, nothing to collect, nothing to become, just what's already here, before this sentence ends.